Hey guys, Nick here. I want to talk a little bit about smooth and flat floors versus level floors. One main distinction between the two of them is that smooth and flat follows the contours of the existing floor, where a level floor requires a benchmark to be set and heights to meet that specific benchmark. You need to use specialty floor leveling tools such as a gas meter, a water level, or a story pole, a lot of people still use, and you're required to use these tools to hit certain benchmarks and correct the heights throughout the floor. What we find works best for us is using a gas meter that's made by NIVCOMP. So this is the NIVCOMP gas meter that we use. When you open it up, you have a ton of spool in here. You stretch this out and walk it to any far corner that you need to reach. Before you set the laser up at all, you want to make sure that you have enough length on the hose. And you press the button here, you hear a little beep, and it turns on. Next thing you want to do is open up the valve on this orange circle here all the way until you can't open it anymore. And you'll see the this light blink. Now from here, we have extension poles. Typically we like to use one extension pole. Maybe sometimes we'll use two, depending on how lazy we feel that day. But this is what the extension poles do. They just give you extra length for the floor. But ideally, the closer that this tool is to the floor, the more accurate the measurement is. So that's why we like to keep it to 1, and sometimes we even take it off and get real close and just use that on the floor. So these are our leveling pins that we use, that we stick to the floor, and we take the measurements given to us by our gas meter, and we'll actually cut these pins to the height that's required. So literally you just take scissors and you just cut the pin off. So that's what I've done here. These pins are 2 different heights, but at the end of the day, because the concrete in this location is one height and the concrete in this location is a different height, they are perfectly level with each other. This gas meter tells us measurements down to the 1 millimeter. So it's very accurate and very precise, and anything that's between 0 and 1 millimeter is level for all intents and purposes. So once you have the gas opened up and that valve all the way open, you've pulled your line as far as you need to pull it, you really never want to move this thing again until you have to re-zero or take the benchmark again. Once this machine is set to the height that you need to set it to, you cannot move it. So what we do here now, while the machine is blinking, we set our gas meter to the height that we need it to be set to, and we wait for it to read 0. Once it reads 0, steady 0, we click it, and now that locks in that height. So once we have our 0 from our initial area taken, we carry the laser to the next area. We see that this particular area needs 38 millimeters additional material in order to bring it level with the other area. So then we would then cut our leveling pin to 38 millimeters. They're all numbered on the side. Once it's cut, we set it on the floor, then we take our measurements, and you can see that the meter is reading 0, which means perfectly level with the other pin. So again, just to recap, just because the pins are 2 different heights does not mean that the floor will be different heights. It's just contour. We're cutting the pins in contour with the existing floor in order to achieve that levelness, which we can see here is level. So with a smooth and flat floor, basically what you do is you set your gauge rake to an even consistency depth, which would be a 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch, 1/2 inch, and you would pull this across the floor evenly. And again, it would follow the contour of the existing floor while applying that specific depth of material to the floor. Versus a level floor, one area might only need 1/4 of an inch to achieve levelness, but another area might need 3/4 of an inch. And when you apply those different depths, at the end of the day, they would still be level with each other. Smooth and flat floors also are referred to as just carpet ready. Basically, you're just looking to get the floor exactly that, just smooth and flat, ready for carpet, and move on to the next thing. With level floors, floors that need to achieve a certain amount of levelness across them, we see this often in MRI rooms, throughout hospitals, TV studios, TV sets that need to have level floors to make sure that the angles are correct. in offices, glass office partitions, that's a big one. They have certain tolerances that they have to be within, so they often need to be leveled prior to installation. The floor has to be leveled prior to installation so that they could sit flush. So where smooth and flat floors follow the same contour of the existing substrate that you're going over, a level floor requires a benchmark to be set, and you use that benchmark to set your leveling pins, and by doing that, you correct all the highs and lows throughout the floor, creating the perfectly level floor.